Hello dear student, welcome to new session of laws of motion. In this class we'll discuss topic called impulse. So see my dear student, impulse is nothing but impact of force. So what actually impulse is? Large amount of force acting on a body for short interval of time, which creates finite change in momentum. See my dear student, what actually impulse is? Let's suppose I'm hammering a nail in wall. So what we have to do, we'll apply a large amount of force on nail for short interval of time, my dear student. So when large amount of force is applied in short interval of time, or we can say for short interval of time, then due to that force the momentum, finite momentum of body changes. And remember my dear student, we know about momentum is nothing but mass into velocity. So large amount of force acting on a body for short interval of time, which creates finite change in momentum, is called impulse. So remember, impulse is not a new concept, my dear student. Impulse is nothing but a impact of force. When you are applying a large amount of force for very short interval of time, then due to that large amount of force, finite change in momentum can take place on body, my dear student. That change in momentum due to large amount of force for very short interval of time is called impulse. Remember, impulse is nothing but a vector quantity, my dear student. So impulse is vector quantity and it is represented by J vector. And the formula of impulse is force into change in time, which is also said to be change in momentum. Change in momentum. Remember this thing. Impulse is represented by J vector. My dear student, the impulse is a vector quantity. So impulse is nothing but force into change in time, which is also called change in momentum. So see, some definite cases are there related to impulse. My dear student, if momentum is increases, then we can say impulse is positive. If change in momentum is positive, or we can say if change in momentum increases, then we'll say impulse is positive. Similarly, if change in momentum decreases, then we'll say impulse is negative. Similarly, if there is no change in momentum can takes place, that is change in momentum is constant, then we'll say impulse is zero. Impulse is zero. Remember, we have two different concepts for impulse. First is large amount of force in short interval of time is called impulse. Second concept is large amount of force with respect to time changes the momentum of body, that is also called impulse. So remember this thing, this is one formula of impulse, it is force into change in time, and second formula of impulse is change in momentum. Large amount of force for short interval of time will changes the momentum of particle or body, and we can say momentum is nothing but product of mass and velocity. Now see my dear student, let's suppose I am applying a force on body in for very short interval of time. As we know that dt is nothing but small change in time. Small change in time. So dt is nothing but small change in time. So if duration of time is very small, in that case impulse is also very small. So we can write dj is equals to force into small change in time, that is dt, and remember force is nothing but a vector quantity. Moving forward my dear student, let's suppose the change in time is from t1 to t2. So we can write dj, whose integration must be j, it is equals to integral f into dt from time t1 to t2. This is the formula of impulse. Remember, impulse is not a new concept, my dear Bachal party. Impulse is basically impact of force. When we'll apply large amount of force in very short interval of time, due to that force momentum is changes by the body, that is nothing but impulse. So J is equals to integral f vector dot dt from t1 to t2, that is change in momentum from time t1 to t2 is called impulse. Now we'll discuss second formula of impulse, which is write down impulse momentum theorem. Write down impulse momentum theorem. Next topic is impulse momentum theorem. Impulse momentum theorem. I am writing next topic, it is impulse momentum theorem. Impulse momentum theorem. Impulse momentum theorem. Our next topic is impulse momentum theorem. So see, my dear student, try to understand each and every part of this lecture. So we know that by second law of motion, we know that force is directly proportional to change in momentum with respect to time. This can also be write as F is equals to change in momentum with respect to time, that is dt. Now if I'll take dt this side, it is F into dt is equals to change in momentum. F into dt is equals to change in momentum. Now see, my dear student, let the change in time is from t is equals to t1 to t is equals to t2. I am asking that, let's suppose change in time can takes place from t1 to t2. In this duration of change in time, let the momentum is changes from p is equals to p1 to p is equals to p2. I am writing during this time let the momentum be changes from p is equals to p1 to p is equals to p2. I am saying that in time t is equals to t1, the change in momentum is p1, and from t is equals to t2, the change in momentum is p2. Now I am integrating both side. So we'll get integration f dt. As we all know, force is a vector quantity. It is equals to change in momentum. Momentum is changes from p1 to p2, and time is changes from t1 to t2. As my dear student, we know that integral f vector dot dt from t1 to t2 is nothing but impulse, and impulse can be write as j. So j is equals to dp. Integration of dp is nothing but p. As we know, integration of dx is x. So if we'll integrating dp, we'll get p, and limit is from p1 to p2. We have to now apply the limit. So limit must be equals to upper limit minus lower limit. So we can say j is nothing but change in momentum. So remember, we have two different formulas for impulse. Remember, impulse is nothing but large amount of force in very short interval of time is called impulse. Large amount of force during short interval of time is called impulse. And one formula of impulse is J is equals to change in momentum. Remember, if we'll apply very large amount of force in very short interval of time on any system, then the momentum of system get changes, which is equals to impulse is equals to change in momentum. And another formula of impulse is integral f dt from t1 to t2. So we have two different formulas of impulse, my dear bacha party. According to the situation, will apply. You have to just remember one thing: if you will find very large amount of force during or we can say for very short interval of time, then we'll say impulse is there. And impulse is nothing but either we can say t1 to t2 f dt, or we can say change in momentum. Remember, if you will apply very large amount of force in very short interval of time, or we can say for very short interval of time, then due to that large amount of force, the momentum of body changes, and the momentum of body, which is also called change in momentum, becomes equals to impulse. So remember, we have two different formulas of impulse. One is change in momentum, and second is integral f dt from t1 to t2. So we have two formulas for impulse. Now my dear student, moving forward, write down graphical method of impulse. Graphical method of impulse. Graphical method of impulse. Write down next heading, graphical method of impulse. Graphical presentation, or we can say graphical method of impulse. Graphical method of impulse. One more thing you have to remember, my dear student, if we have a force, let's suppose this is a graph of force versus time. I am making the graph of force versus time. So remember one thing, if we are making graph of force versus time, so my dear student, force can be of two types. Remember one more thing about impulse is nothing but J is equals to, either we can say change in momentum, or we can say f dt from t1 to t2. So this is basically, we have two different formulas of impulse. Remember, force is of two different natures. One we can say constant force. And second we can say variable force. So we have two different nature of forces, my dear student. One is constant force and another is variable force. As we know the rule of integration, if force is constant, then force comes outside. In that case, let's suppose if force, my dear student, is constant. If force is constant, then we can write f comes outside, integration of dt from t1 to t2. So J is equals to f dt, integration of dt is t from t1 to t2. We can write J is equals to f change in time. Once we'll apply the limit, we know that limit can be applied as upper limit minus lower limit, that is t2 minus t1, and t2 minus t1 means final time minus initial time, which is also called change in time and is represented by delta t. Now see, if force is constant, then the graph, let's suppose our graph will be like this. I am saying that the force is constant. Right now we are talking about force is constant, and if force is constant, under that situation I am making the graph. So let's suppose force is constant, my dear student. Let's suppose here the time t is equals to t1. After some time the time becomes t is equals to t2, but force is not changing. See, the force is not changing for both the points. Let's suppose this point is A and this point is B. Time is changing, but with respect to time, force is not changing. At point A, time is t1, force is F. At point B, time is t2, still force is F. So if force is constant, with respect to time, force is not changing, then the particle covers some area. Remember, this area, this is basically area. And remember, area under force time graph can gives you the value of impulse. Area under force time graph, area under force time graph gives the value of impulse, Remember this thing, area under force time graph can gives the value of impulse. In this situation, force is constant. But my dear student, what if force is not constant? So remember, write down second case, impulse under variable force. Write down next possible condition, it is impulse under variable force. Impulse under variable force. Impulse under the variable force. I am writing next topic, it is impulse under variable force. Impulse under variable force. So let's suppose, my dear student, we have a force versus time graph like this, and I am saying force is changing. Force is, let's suppose, changing. Now the force is not constant. So see, in this situation, time t is equals to t1, and here let's suppose time t is equals to t2. Now see, for different time, the value of force is different. So we can say here force is variable. Again, find the value of area under the graph, area under the force time graph. We know that now if we'll find the area under force time graph, that area gives the value of impulse. But in this situation, the formula of impulse must be F dt from T1 to T2. So remember, if force is variable, then the formula of impulse is F dt, and if force is not variable, then the formula of impulse is F into dt. So this is all about impulse. Remember, impulse is not a very accurate impulse is not a new concept, my dear student. It is not actually a concept. It is nothing but effect of force. If you'll apply very large amount of force for very short interval of time, then the change in momentum can take place on body. That is basically called impulse. That is basically called impulse. So moving forward, I hope you all understand about the concept of impulse. Impulse is nothing but, first we can say impulse is nothing but change in momentum, or we can say F into dt. Now moving forward, write down a question. Write down, dear student. It is a cricket ball of mass 150 gram. Write down a cricket ball of mass 150 gram. A cricket ball of mass 150 gram. A cricket ball of mass 150 gram. So mass of cricket ball is given. The mass of cricket ball is 150 gram. Now see, if any cricketer can catch the ball, remember this thing, if any cricketer can catch the ball impacted very large amount of force. In that situation, we can say force is very large for very short interval of time. Here the force impact is impulse, remember. So a cricket ball of mass 150 gram is moving with a velocity of 12 meter per second. Is moving with a velocity of 12 meter per second. Is moving with a velocity of 12 meter per second and is hit by a bat, and is hit by a bat, so that the ball is turned back, so that the ball is turned back with a velocity of 20 meter per second, with a velocity of 20 meter per second, full stop. The force of the blow acts for 0.01 second. The force of the blow acts for 0.01 second on the ball, full stop. Find the average force exerted by the bat. Find the average force exerted by the bat. Find the average force exerted by the bat on the ball. Find the average force exerted by the bat on the ball. I am repeating once again. We have cricket ball mass is given. It is 150 gram. So if I am talking about mass of ball, it is 150 gram. Let's convert it into kg. So it becomes 0.15 kg, my dear student. 0.15 kg. Now see, this is basically nothing but impulse, because we know that the force which is acting on bat by the ball is for very short interval of time. See, the time is nothing but 0.01 seconds. So this time is, my dear student, very small. This time is very small. Time is 0.01 second. Second thing is moving with a velocity of 12 meter per second and is hit by a bat. So see, my dear student, this will be considered as initial velocity. It is 12 meter per second. After hitting by bat, the velocity changes. It moves back. The ball moves back with velocity 20 meter per second. So if velocity is changing and it is moving back, we'll put a negative sign. This negative sign indicates the direction of hitting velocity is opposite to direction of going velocity. See, I'm throwing a ball, a person hits with bat with velocity. I'm throwing the ball with velocity 12 meter per second. When the ball hits by the bat, the velocity is 20 meter per second. So we can say when ball is coming in this direction, let's suppose it is plus 12 meter per second. When after hitting the after hitting the ball by bat, let the velocity is moving back, because in question they are saying it is moving back. So we can write minus 20 meter per second. So this is final velocity. Now we know that momentum is nothing but mass into velocity. See, momentum depends on velocity. So here velocity is changing, my dear student, and if velocity is changing, then we can say momentum is change. So initial momentum must be mass into initial velocity and final momentum must be mass into final velocity. Now see, initial momentum is equals to mass is 0.15 and initial velocity is 12. This becomes initial momentum. Similarly, if I am talking about final momentum, then mass of ball is same but velocity is changing, it is 20. So this is our final velocity and second is our initial velocity. But see, my dear student, here the final velocity will put negative sign. So this is initial momentum, this is final momentum. We'll calculate change in momentum, must be P final minus P initial. So momentum is equals to P final, means 0.15 comes outside, it is minus 20 minus 12. I hope you all understand. This is the value of change in momentum. Change in momentum. Change in momentum. And the SI unit of momentum, if I am talking about SI unit of momentum, momentum is nothing but mass into velocity. SI unit of mass is kg and SI unit of velocity is meter per second. So the SI unit of momentum is kg meter per second. So after solving this, you will get the value of change in momentum. Try to solve by your own, my dear student. You will get the value as minus 4.8 kg meter per second. Minus 4.8 kg meter per second. Now in question they are saying find the average force exerted by the bat on the ball. So now we know that force is nothing but change in momentum with respect to time. So we'll get F is equals to change in momentum is minus 4.8 divided by time changes, it is 0.01 second. So after solving this, you will get the value, it is nothing but 480 Newton. 480 Newton. This is your answer, my dear student. Negative sign indicates the direction of force is opposite to its initial. So I hope you all understand. Moving forward, write down next question. The next question is a hammer weighing 1 kg, a hammer weighing 1 kg moving with the speed of a hammer weighing 1 kg moving with the speed of 10 meter per second, moving with the speed of 10 meter per second, strikes the head of a nail, driving it 10 centimeter, into a wall, full stop. Neglecting the mass of the nail, calculate first part, the acceleration during impact. First part, the acceleration during impact. First part you have to calculate acceleration during the impact. Second part, the time interval of the impact. And third part, impulse. Third part is impulse. So my dear student, I am repeating once again, a hammer weighing 1 kg moving with the constant speed of 10 meter per second. So speed is constant, my dear student. So if speed is constant, it implies speed is not changing. So initial speed is 10 meter per second and final speed must be 0. Now they are saying its mass is 1 kg. Its mass is 1 kg. Okay, so mass is given and mass is equals to 1 kg. I'm sorry, mass, yes, mass is 1 kg with speed of itna is drive it 10 centimeter into the wall. So see, actually what happened, we are applying a hammer of mass 1 kg, its initial velocity is 20 meter per second, it hits the nail and the nail drives 10 centimeter inside the wall. So distance traveled by nail is 10 centimeter, it is 0.1 meter. So in first case they are asking find the acceleration. Now apply equation of motion, because we know that initial velocity is there, final velocity is there and displacement is there. So find acceleration. So first part we have to find acceleration. Apply equation of motion, it is v square minus u square is equals to 2as. So a must be equal to v square minus u square by 2 and s. So a becomes equals to final velocity is 0, initial velocity is 10 divided by 2 into distance covered by the nail inside the wall, it is 0.1. So acceleration must be, after solving this you will get the answer must be negative of 500 meter per second square. Why negative, my dear student? Negative comes because initial velocity is greater than final velocity. So if initial velocity is greater than final velocity, in that case acceleration will be negative, and we know that negative of acceleration means retardation. So this is all about first part. In second part they are saying the time interval of the impact. So just apply again equation of motion. Second part we have to find the time. So v is equals to u plus at. We can say v minus u by a is equals to t. So t becomes equals to final velocity is 0, initial velocity is 10 and acceleration comes to be minus 500. So t is equals to minus 10 by minus 500. It cancelled. So 1 upon 50. So t becomes equals to the time of hitting is nothing but, my dear student, 0.02 second. So this is your time of impact, it is 0.02 second. Moving forward, now we'll find third part. They are asking for find the impulse. Okay, we'll get the impulse. Impulse is nothing but force into time. Force into time. We know that here force is constant, my dear student. So force is not given. So we can write, instead of force we can write mass into acceleration. So impulse becomes equals to mass into acceleration into time. Mass is given, it is 1 kg. Acceleration is, will get acceleration, it is 500. Will also get time, it is 0.02. Just calculate and get your answer, my dear student. It is nothing but minus 10 Newton. Minus 10 Newton. You'll get the value of impulse as minus 10 Newton. I hope you all understand this question as well. Moving forward, my dear student, write down next question. Next question is, write down next question. So next question is a glass ball whose mass is 10 g, a glass ball whose mass is 10 g, a glass ball whose mass is 10 g, a glass ball whose mass is 10 g falls from a height of 40 meter, falls from a height of 40 meter and rebounds to a height of 10 meter, and rebounds to a height of 10 meter, full stop. Find the impulse and the average force. Find the impulse and the average force. Find the impulse and the average force between the glass ball and the floor if the time during which 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 they are in contact is 0.1 second. 0.1 second. So this is again very short time, my dear student. Again you have to think about the concept of impulse, because we know that impulse is nothing but force, large amount of force for very short interval of time. Now see what the question is. Question is a glass ball whose mass is 10 g. So we have a glass ball whose mass is 10 g falls from a height. Okay, so they are asking that we have a height. Let's suppose the height is considered to be h. From this height we are dropping a glass ball. So if I am dropping, we know that its initial velocity comes to be 0. See, basically whole mechanics will be connected with each other, my dear student. If you are not aware with kinematics, that is 1D 2D, you cannot able to solve the questions, because after completing kinematics every concept must relate with kinematics. So see, moving forward, so mass falls from a height of 40 meter. Okay, so they are asking the height is 40 meter, height is given, and they are falling. So if falling, then initial velocity is considered to be, my dear bacha party, 0. Now see, okay, then what they'll say, and rebound to a height of 10 meter. Okay, after dropping it again rebounds with a height of 10 meter. So they are asking that the ball is rebounded. So let's solve first case first. Find out the velocity with which the ball hits the ground. So we know that velocity on just before hitting the ground, the velocity is nothing but under root 2 gh. If you are aware, if you are not, then you have to find this formula as well. It is v square minus u square is equals to 2as. Instead of a, we know that we can write it as g. So we have to find initial velocity is 0. 2 into g into, instead of s we can write h. So v square is nothing but 2gh. So v is nothing but under root 2gh, under root 2gh. Why we are considering initial velocity to be 0? Because we are dropping or falling the object. That's why we are considering initial velocity to be 0. When you put the values, you will get v is equals to under root, instead of g will put 9.8, instead of h we can put 40. So v becomes equals to under root. After solving this, you will get, my dear student, root 784. And if you will solve the value of root 784, you will get answer 28 meter per second. So 28 meter per second is the velocity with which it hits the ground. Now they are asking that after reaching the ground, after hits the ground, it rebounds and comes at a height of 40 meter. Comes at a height of 10 meter. After rebounding, he achieves. This is basically for downward motion. This condition is for downward motion. Now we'll discuss for upward motion. So I'm writing here for upward motion. After hitting the ball, it starts moving in upward direction. Now see, with the velocity which attained by the body when it reaches the ground is considered to be now, final velocity is considered to be 0, height is 10. So again we'll get the final velocity, initial velocity, my dear student. Initial velocity is not given, final velocity becomes equals to 0, because after reaching certain height again the ball comes down. So we can consider final velocity to be 0 and we'll get the initial velocity. Now see, find v square minus u square is equals to 2as. Final velocity is 0, initial velocity we have to find, acceleration is minus g, and s, that is distance covered in this case is nothing but 10 meter. So instead of h we can write 10. So u square is equals to 2gh, and u becomes equals to under root 2 gh. So we can write under root 9.8 into h is 10. We'll get initial velocity. After solving this equation, you will get, my dear student, under root 196. So it is under root 196. So it is approximately equals to 10 meter per second. So see, this is our final velocity and 14 meter per second. This is our initial velocity. So when you will get final velocity and initial velocity, you will capable to find what they are asking, find impulse and the average force. Okay, so first of all, find, my dear student, change in velocity, or we can say change in momentum. First of all, if we're getting impulse is nothing but change in momentum. So impulse is nothing but mass into final velocity minus mass into initial velocity. So impulse is equals to mass getting common, v minus u. So mass of the ball is given, I hope mass is given, yes my dear student, it is 10 kg. Mass is 10 g. So convert it into kg, 10 gram. Mass is nothing but 10 gram. So convert it into kg. So it is 10 by 1000. So mass is 10 by 1000. Final velocity is 28 minus initial velocity is 14. I hope you all understand. If you want to apply the sign convention, you can apply. It will be minus 14. So impulse becomes equals to 0.4. After solving this, you will get the value of impulse. Impulse is 0.42. Impulse is 0.42. Impulse is 0.42. Now they are also asking for find the average force. They are also asking for average force. So average force is nothing but impulse upon time, change in impulse upon time, or we can say change in momentum with respect to time, and change in momentum is nothing but impulse. So impulse upon time, it is 0.42 divided by time is given, time is 0.1 second. So put the value of time, it is 0.1 second. So average force becomes equals to 4.2 Newton. This is your final answer. I hope you all understand this question, my dear student, as well. In next session, we'll practice more questions. Theory of Newton's laws of motion here completed. So thank you so much connecting with us. In next class, we'll discuss some more numericals. Practice numericals more and more by yourself, because concepts in physics are very less, but its application is very huge. But if you want to command in physics, you have to practice more. So thank you so much, my dear student. In next class, we'll discuss some more numericals. Till then, take care, Bacha Party. Stay safe, stay happy. Thank you.